Today's video brought to you by Snowball Goblin. Hey there, kiddos, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank, hoping that you are having a great day. And in today's video, I'm going to be sitting back in my squeaky chair, relaxing and having a conversation with all of you guys about a popular viewer request. That's right. In a previous video, I had briefly mentioned how during recording, I had gotten wildly off topic and started rambling about Tulip Mania. And a bunch of you guys apparently wanted me to talk about Tulip Mania because I've been getting several requests about it, both here on YouTube and over on Discord. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a trip through history to discover speculative markets, crazy assets, and really cool flowers. Flowers are great. So before we begin, I just want to say forgive me if I get any dates wrong, if I get any names wrong. I'm a forgetful person, and more importantly, I am not a historian. I do like history. I have a fascination with some of the cooler historical events, and I do believe it's important that we learn from history, because it does have a lot of lessons to teach us. But I'm not a historian, so if I get something wrong, just feel free to dive right on into the comment section and tell me that I'm an idiot. With that out of the way, let's begin with the basics. Tulip Mania occurred in the Netherlands in the 17th century, the 1600s. Okay, now, this was a period of economic prosperity for the region. It was the Dutch Golden Age, basically, where a lot of Dutch trade gave merchants a lot of money to burn, and they had economic prosperity, and they wanted something to spend their money on. Luxury items, basically, to showcase their wealth. And you can only buy so many mansions before it becomes kind of boring, right? Well, so there were a few options for things to buy to showcase your wealth, and tulips just so happened to be one of those things, right? To be clear, tulips trading in the region, flowers trading in the region, have been going on for quite a while. Tulips have been traded for at least the 1500s. I want to say it really started in the 1590s. They were, tulips are beautiful. They last a long time. They have very distinctive bulbs. Some of them have really nice patterns on it, I think because of a virus, which is why a lot of people cared about it. But they were more resilient than other flowers. They lasted longer. And so they were gaining popularity for quite a while before the 1630s. 1630s is when it really cranked up. I want to say it was 1634 when Tulip Mania really began with Dutch traders again. They're in the Netherlands. This was their golden age. They had a lot of extra money coming in. So they had money to spare. And in places like their capital city, the luxury items were in high demand. Like things to have just to have. Not because you needed it for daily life, but because you wanted to showcase how opulently wealthy you were. It was just something rich people always will do, right? So these little flowers with stunning pigments for some of them, they turned out to be perfect items for these wealthier merchants. Not just because they make great gifts for your wife or wonderful display pieces for your estate, but because they served as an investable speculative asset. A item that you could buy, and because it was so popular, there was a decent chance at it becoming more valuable tomorrow. So because of this, because of a lot of interest in these bulbs, a futures market quickly erupted with people buying and selling bulbs for truly ludicrous prices. I cannot stress enough how insane some of these prices really were. Hundreds of guilders, I think, was the currency in the Netherlands at the time. Correct me in the comments section if I'm wrong. But yeah, the more vibrant flowers especially were going for loads of money. They had fancy names and everything. Business was great. People were buying and selling at really ludicrous price tags. You look at some of the numbers that were reported for the time, and it's crazy. Like some of these bulbs, even the common ones, eventually, as demand went up, even like the common ones, the less fancy ones, were selling for hundreds of, I'm pretty sure it's guilders, Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was guilders at the time. That's the name of their money. But hundreds of local currency in a time where like really skilled craftsmen were lucky to make like 400 guilders in a year, which means one flower could move more money than a workshop. And that's crazy because of how tulips work, honestly, if you think about it. This isn't like a car or a house or a Magic the Gathering card. You can buy those and sell those at any time. Tulips don't work like that. You can only really sell them, the bulbs, during their off season, in between blooms. You can dig up a tulip and resell it, right? So markets had only small windows of opportunity to buy and sell these plants, which is crazy. Like, to give some examples, like people were selling carriages for a flower, houses for flowers. In fact, I think it was Charles Mackay. He was an author in the 1800s, and in his 1850s, 1840s book, which was titled Popular Delusions, I think is the title. It has a longer title, but I remember Popular Delusions and something about Crown Madness. Man, I'm not a good memory guy. But yeah, like he wrote in like the 1800s that someone once traded 12 acres of land. Acres of land for one flower. That's insane. So there was a lot of hype, there was a lot of speculation, there was a lot of people spending a lot of money on these flowers. Not even the flowers themselves, they were spending it on the bulbs, which, they're destructible, they're easy to fall apart, so many things could go wrong. Yeah, sure, tulips last a long time and they're hardier than most other flowers, but you're still selling 12 acres of land for one potentially dead bulb. And I'm guessing that, sooner or later enough people caught on to that this was ludicrous. So this started in the early 1630s. It started around 1634. And the market itself died by 1637. Early 1637, February, I think. People weren't buying. Auctions weren't getting bids. Contracts weren't being fulfilled. Tulip Mania was over in basically no time at all. And we don't really know the reason. History doesn't really write down a lot of sales data for the time or a lot of sentiment for the time. But Tulip Mania was going rampant for several years, and then all of a sudden it was over. The joyride was done, and people were left holding the bags. And these people, these speculators, these investors in flowers, beautiful flowers, don't get me wrong. The people who were parking lots of money in these things, they were belly up. Now, to be clear, the wider economy did not suffer because of this. The Netherlands economy did not, to my knowledge, crash or burn or fizzle or even have a noticeable dip in their GDP. This was, again, during the Dutch Golden Age. So there was a lot of economic prosperity going around, except for the people who just lost it all bidding on flowers. It was crazy. It was rampant for several years, and then all of a sudden it was done. Absolutely insane stuff. And this is important, I think. That's kind of the end of the story, too, by the way. Like, that's it. That's the end. That's how the first speculative bubble dies. Not with a grand decimation of the economy, but with people just suddenly deciding one day, nah, I don't want to spend money on a flower. Some guy woke up one day and decided, maybe I'm not going to sell 12 acres of land for one plant. Maybe that's not the smartest way to conduct business. Yeah, it was such a crazy time, financially speaking, and I believe it has a lesson to teach us, like a real lesson that we can learn from here, in the modern day, in the world of collectibles, investables, card games, video games, etc. Just because there's a lot of hype around something, just because there's a lot of excitement around something, the chair's not squeaking any further, just because a lot of money is moving into something, just because something is valuable, rare, loud train, just because there's so much positivity doesn't mean it can't end one day. The gravy train is awesome. The ride is great. The ups and downs, the freakouts, the hype, the all that jazz, the bear, the bull, the bear, the bull, all that stuff is great. It's all fun and games, and a lot of money can be made. But it's important to remember that these explosions of interest, this hype, the easy ride, it can end regardless of what you're in. Tulips and video games, comics, card games, they're nice. They're nice to look at. They're wonderful luxury items, but you don't need them. They don't have an underlying value to them. They don't serve any real purpose besides admiring them, playing with them, and enjoying them. You know, you can't build a house out of cardboard, theoretically. You can't build a steam engine out of Nintendo 64 games. It actually might be a lie. You maybe Nintendo 64 games are ridiculously sturdy. You probably could, actually. What I'm trying to say here is, for as many people in the various markets that experience their hypes, their booms, their FOMO periods, a lot of them have the same thing to say when confronted with the idea that it might not go on forever. And it's something along the lines of, this time it's different. This is different because it won't happen to this because it's going to happen. I don't care what it is. I don't care how cool it is or how big the market is. Tulips were the biggest market around for a bit. Look what happened. Beanie Babies were the biggest market around for a bit. Look what happened. NFTs were the biggest market around for a bit. And look what happened. History is important. And I believe even if you don't know all of it, you can still learn its lessons. That's really all I got for you kiddos today. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below if you agree with me, disagree with me, think I'm crazy. Let me know if I got any of the dates or names wrong, because I probably did. I'm just, again, I'm not a historian. Check out the Discord where you can harass me or have conversations with all the guys. Check out the Patreon if you feel like throwing $1 at me or buying imaginary tulips from imaginary money. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.